Mindfulness and Calmness. A calm attitude at all times shows a man of culture. It is not too hard for a man to be calm when things are favorable. But to be composed when things are wrong is hard indeed. And it is this difficult quality that is worth achieving. For by such calm and control, he builds up strength of character. It is quite wrong to imagine that they alone are strong and powerful who are noisy, garrulous, and fussily busy. According to the Anguttara Nikaya, emptiness is loud, but fullness calm. The fool's a half-filled little tin box, the sage a lake. The man who cultivates calmness of mind rarely gets upset when confronted with the vicissitudes of life. He tries to see things in their proper perspective, how things come into being and pass away, free from anxiety and restlessness. He will try to see the fragility of the fragile. According to Satanapada, quiet mind. Go on, in fortune or misfortune, at their own private pace, like a clock during a thunderstorm. The immediate benefits of mindfulness are purity of mind, clarity and happiness. They are experienced at the very moment that mindfulness is present. Absence of afflictions is purity. Because of purity come clarity and joy. When we have a mind that is pure and clear, we can advance in the path of cultivation and practice with deep contemplations in our daily life. Unwholesome mental states are unfortunately more frequent than wholesome ones. As soon as greed, aversion, and delusion enter the consciousness, we start to create unwholesome karma, which will give results in this life as well as in the future. Rebirth is one result. With that, death becomes inevitable. Between birth and death, a being will create more karma, both wholesome and unwholesome, to keep the cycle turning. Therefore, heedlessness is the path that leads to death, rebirth, and death, and rebirth. It is the cause of death in this world, as well as in the future life. Thus, Buddhism considers mindfulness like fresh air, essential to life. All breathing beings need clean air. If only polluted air is available, they will shortly be afflicted by diseases and may even die. Mindfulness is just this important. A mind deprived of the fresh air of mindfulness grows stale, breathes shallowly, and chalks upon defilements. In fact, afflictions are actually much more dangerous than the polluted air. If a person dies from breathing polluted air, the poison will be left behind in his or her corpse. But the taints of the afflictions carry forward to the next life. The Buddha taught in the Satipatthana Sutta, the first cause of mindfulness is nothing more than mindfulness itself. Naturally, there is a difference between the weak mindfulness that characterized one's early meditative efforts and the mindfulness at higher levels of practice, which becomes strong enough to cause enlightenment to occur. In fact, the development of mindfulness is a simple momentum, one moment of mindfulness causing the next. Cause and effect. Some people believe in Christianity, and according to the Christian, the theistic position that man's destiny is basically determined for him by God. God determines if a man deserves heaven or hell. He may even decide each man's earthly destiny. Some other people believe in fatalism, that each of us has a fate, which we cannot change, and about which we can do nothing. They believe that whatever will be will be. In this philosophy, the agent that determines destiny is not a god, but rather a mysterious impersonal power called fate, which transcends our understanding. Still, some other people believe the exact opposite. They believe in indeterminism. Everything happens by accident. They believe that if man is lucky, he will achieve happiness or success. If he is unlucky, he will suffer or fail. But whatever he receives not through any process of determination, but by accident, by sheer coincidence. In Christianity, the Christian worships God and prays to Him in order to obtain forgiveness from the results his evil actions hold out for him. Buddhism differs from Christianity in that it sees the root cause of all evil in ignorance, and not in sin, in an act of intellectual misapprehension, and not in an act of volition and rebellion. As a practical definition of ignorance, we are offered the four perverted views, which make us seek for permanence in what is inherently impermanent, ease in what is inseparable from suffering, selfhood in what is not linked to any self, and delight in what is essentially repulsive and disgusting. According to the karma law in Buddhism, the present is a shadow of the past, the future a shadow of the present. Hence our action in the present is most important, for what we do in the present determines the course of our future development. For this reason, Zen practitioners should always apply their minds to the present, so that they may advance on the way. According to the Buddhist doctrine of rebirth, the causal relation between action and its results holds not only with regard to the present life, but also with regard to past and future lives. This universal law of cause and effect is non-negotiable. Just as we cannot run away from our own shadows, so we cannot run away from the results of our actions. They will pursue us no matter where we hide. Besides, the Buddha also taught that negative or unwholesome mind creates negative or unwholesome thoughts, anger, hatred, harmful thoughts, wrong views, speech, lying, harsh speech, double-tongued, as well as deeds, which are the causes of our sufferings, confusion and misery. Unwholesome or negative mind will destroy our inner peace and tranquility. Catholicism contradicts itself with the words in the Bible, "Ye shall reap what ye shall sow," and the theory of forgiveness through the gaze of Christ or God. The sentence, "Reap what you sow," is precisely in accordance with the natural law of karma, while the grace of forgiveness completely denies this law. But in Buddhism, no one can forgive a person for his transgression. If he commits an evil deed, he has to reap the bad consequences. For all is governed by universal law, and not by any arbitrary creator. According to Buddhism, the pain or pleasure resulting in this life from the practices or causes and retributions of a previous life. Therefore, ancient virtues said, if we wish to know what our lives were like in the past, just look at the retributions we are experiencing currently in this life. If we wish to know what retributions will happen to us in the future, just look and examine the actions we have created or are creating in this life. If we understand clearly this theory, then in our daily activities, sincere Buddhists are able to avoid unwholesome deeds and practice wholesome deeds. Every action which is a cause will have a result or an effect. Likewise, every resultant action has its cause. The law of cause and effect is a fundamental concept within Buddhism governing all situation. Buddhists believe in a just rationale of karma that operates automatically and speak in terms of cause and effect instead of rewards and punishments. Every action which is a cause will have a result or an effect. Likewise, every resultant action has its cause. The law of cause and effect is a fundamental concept within Buddhism governing all situation. Buddhists believe in a just rationale of karma that operates automatically, and speak in terms of cause and effect instead of rewards and punishments. It's a fundamental principle for all living beings and all things that if one sows good deeds, he will surely reap a good harvest. If he sows bad deeds, he must inevitably reap a bad harvest. Though the results may appear quickly or slowly, everyone will be sure to receive the results that accord with their actions. Anyone who has deeply understood this principle will never do evil. According to Buddhism, every action which is a cause will have a result or an effect. Likewise, every resultant action or effect has its cause. The law of cause and effect is a fundamental concept within Buddhism, governing all situations. The moral causation in Buddhism means that a deed, good or bad, or indifferent, brings its own result on the doer. Good people are happy and bad ones unhappy. But in most cases, happiness is understood not in its moral or spiritual sense, but in the sense of material prosperity, social position, or political influence. For instance, kingship is considered the reward of one's having faithfully practiced the 10 deeds of goodness. If one meets a tragic death, he is thought to have committed something bad in his past lives, even when he might have spent a blameless life in the present one. Causality is a natural law, mentioning the relationship between cause and effect. All things come into being not without cause, since if there is no cause, there is no effect, and vice versa. As sow thou, so shall you reap. Cause and effect never conflict with each other. In other words, cause and effect are always consistent with each other. If we want to have beans, we must sow bean seeds. If we want to have oranges, we must sow orange seeds. If wild weeds are planted, then it's unreasonable for one to hope to harvest edible fruits. One cause cannot have any effect. To produce an effect, it is necessary to have some specific conditions. For instance, a grain of rice cannot produce a rice plant without the presence of sunlight, soil, water, and care. In the cause there is the effect. In the effect there is the cause. From the current cause, we can see the future effect. And from the present effect, we discern the past cause. The development process from cause to effect is sometimes quick, sometimes slow. Sometimes cause and effect are simultaneous, like that of beating a drum and hearing its sound. Sometimes cause and effect are 3 or 4 months away, like that of the grain of rice. It takes about 3 to 4 or 5 to 6 months from a rice seed to a young rice plant, then to a rice plant that can produce rice. Sometimes it takes about 10 years for a cause to turn into an effect. For instance, from the time the schoolboy enters the elementary school to the time he graduates a 4-year college, it takes him at least 14 years. Other causes may involve more time. To produce effects may be the whole life or 2 lives.